This is Troy Running Blind. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. On our way home from the chiropractor, just finished up, so we'll do some traveling home. Combination of shorelining and sidewalk travel. All right, this is Troy and I'm back. So we're heading out. So one way to get out of the parking lot is shoreline, and we're just going to listen to where traffic is going, where traffic is exiting. So I heard a vehicle come up this way. So we're going to come down this way until we reach the street. All right, so we've reached the street. Now, a couple ways we know that we've reached the street is, one, we feel this curving out to the traffic here. We also have a texture change right here and a seam. So we're going to follow this seam. Right, now I don't want to scare people, so we're going to wait until nothing's coming. All right. Sometimes we just have to get out and go. Now, when we're shorelining on a busy street like this and there's no sidewalk, we want to stick to the gutter. And we have to know where we're at all times. So it's important to walk in the gutter. It's important to know where you're at all times. You don't want to accidentally drift out into that traffic. Now I know the sidewalk picks up a ways down here, so we'll be checking in as we get further down. There's a sidewalk, you know, you definitely want to use it instead of walking in a busy street. Bunch of junk there. And you notice the shorelines can change. Sometimes the shoreline is a curb. Sometimes it's a seam to a drive. You don't want to be arcing your cane too wide out there, just enough to kind of cover the outside of your body. If you're not a person who has ever been exposed to shorelining or done it a lot, you can take a little bit of getting used to here in the busier streets. But when there's no sidewalk, it's your option. I mean, you can walk up on the grass. The problem is it's going to slow you down considerably. Like right now we're following a seam and the curb picked back up, but you know, it'll slow you down considerably when you're walking. Now I hear a larger truck like that, and I know it's busy. I do try to I'll step aside if I'm in a drive or step up on the curb. It's So our goal is to, just like when you're crossing the street, our goal is to get out of the street as quick as possible. So So when I'm shorelining, I'm walking in the gutter. I'm covering the outside of my body, but I'm not arcing terribly wide because I don't want my cane run over or yanked out of my hand. I'm always listening ahead. I've got my head up, looking at those cars that are oncoming. I'm always listening and aware of vehicles, whether they're coming towards me or rather they're coming out of a drive. So you're processing a lot of information. You've got to be aware at all times. Oop. Big gutter there. A big storm drain. Kind of sounds a little weird, but I enjoy doing this type of stuff. Letting people see you. Now, I'll have people at times that'll question me as to why are you walking in the street, and you know, that's when you would want to explain to them, checking for a sidewalk. I don't feel one, so we're going to keep going. It's always kind of fun to come across some people, even officers, that really have no idea what you're doing. And you have to explain, you know, what you're doing, which is shorelining, typically because there is no sidewalk. Oh. Another drain. I don't see any sidewalk yet. I'm just popping my cane up every now and then. I know it's a ways down here before it picks up. This is not a terribly long walk home. It's probably about a mile walk, maybe a mile and a quarter, something like that. Requires crossing one major street, which is the street we're walking along right now. And that's it. Checking, no sidewalk. I think the sidewalk is somewhat close. There is no sidewalk though yet. I think the sidewalk, when there is one, is somewhat close to this street. If there's a drive, I will walk up on the drive and keep the seam to the outside of my body. And then move back out. Oh, there goes the drain. And they got these huge drains that just aren't like on the curb, but they literally lay right through the entire gutter where your cane just sinks down in them. We don't want to lose that seam. I don't see a sidewalk yet. Let's keep going. See the sidewalk yet? So typically, checking for sidewalks, I'll look after I cross the drive. I'm not gonna check in for a sidewalk, every 5 or 10 steps. It's just not that big of a deal. Okay, check in. Nope, don't see one yet. Keeping track of where we're at. Alright. Over here, okay. So we're gonna cross here. So don't get like there when we crossed, don't get bent out of shape if you don't hit the crosswalk dead on. It's not a big deal. I was about probably a foot off or so. And now we're just gonna motor on home here. So here, we're definitely walking through a parking lot here. You got a couple things you can do. You know, you can walk through the parking lot. Oops, came across a car there. You can walk through the parking lot. Or you can follow a seam. So I just kind of made my way out. Now I don't have to follow this curve around. Just step up, locate a sidewalk, and here we go. So it's just about being aware of where you're at, and it's not a big deal to so here is obviously a drive here. It's pretty wide. Here the traffic off to my right. A couple of cues that I am in a drive is the texture. Texture is really smooth. There we go. Huh. So I am gonna cross over. Now there's no crosswalk here. That's okay. I'm just listening. I don't hear anything. I put my back to the street and I just make my crossing. So the reason you put your back to the curb is that way you make sure you're going straight across and you're not walking down the middle of the street. Now here we're shorelining again, and the street not nearly as busy, and not nearly as busy, and there is a sidewalk on the other side, but I don't want to be on that side because the street I'm looking for is going to be on my right side. I gotta go north. Right now we're heading west. So the street that I'm looking for is going to be, I gotta go north on the first street. So I know that, okay, I gotta be on the right side of the street. Wouldn't make sense for me to walk on the left side if the street is on my right side. I can't physically check for a street. And you say, well, wouldn't you just hear the street, the corner? And that's true. However, if you have a street that, say, T's, if it T's or maybe dead ends, you know, you wouldn't locate it on that side if it ends before it crosses the intersection. So there's a big hill to go up here. Again, we're walking in the gutter, just covering the outside of our body. So not a huge deal if there's not a sidewalk. Even if there is a sidewalk, sometimes it's easier to shoreline. And don't obsess with finding a sidewalk. Like I know there's a sidewalk back on that street, the busy street, but we didn't locate it. Could be that it was a little further off on the side than I thought it was. And it's not a big deal. Just keep working your way down to the corner. I'm not going to spend 5-10 minutes looking for a sidewalk. Some leaves and stuff in the gutter. Okay. So when I'm looking for a street on shoreline, and I'm looking for my shoreline to start turning, I'm also listening to where traffic is coming from. Like I just heard that one turn a little ways down, so I know we're getting close to the street. And let's listen to this car here. Still going a little bit down. So we got a little bit to go. A couple hundred feet. So I'm just listening to, there's one turning. Okay. So I'm just honing in on how close that is based on the sounds. Eventually, there's my shoreline turning. I just want to follow around another large storm drain. I say large storm drain, they're not the largest ones I've encountered. In Des Moines, when I was in training, the storm drains were large enough to swallow a child. They were huge. Okay, so we're on the last stretch here. Just a few things to take from today is when there is no sidewalk, it's okay. Shoreline, if you're shoreline in a busy street, obviously you always want to be aware of where you're at, listening ahead, keeping your head up, walking in the gutter, and if you want to check in for a sidewalk every now and then, check in after you cross those drives, checking for a sidewalk. And with your street crossings, don't get obsessed with hitting the crosswalk. You have to remember those ramps weren't built for us. They were created for wheelchairs. So depending on the placement and alignment technique you're using to cross the street, you may not end up in a crosswalk anyway. The objective is to get across the street safely and to stay out of the parallel. So depending on what technique you've been taught to cross the streets. So make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Share this video with others who may find it useful. And make sure to tune in for all my videos and my shorts as well. All right, till next time, thanks.